everybody, and welcome to DTC Blow and Smoke Podcast. My name is Shaking Man. Hanson Pierce is out on a different assignment right now. Anyways, we're coming to you today with a very special cast. First of all, we always have Mr. Wild Bill and the Stash Man.
What up?
But we also like to welcome today Fabien Ziegler.
All right.
Oh, there he is.
How's it going, man?
That's a live connection from Korea.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Can you give me a little bit of background about how you got into the industry, like where it all started, like what got you into cigars in the first place?
Well, it was a long, long time ago in a state far, far away from where I am.
Fair enough.
I was on the West Coast, and I had just been working at Disneyland for 10 years, and my best friend, Ludo, at the time, was a manufactured rep for a small little cigar cutter company that just started in Zycar. And then a even smaller cigar company that started, Drew Estate. And they're like, hey, I'm moving to France, and they want someone to take over for my territory, so they want you. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't know anything about cigars, but okay, sure, I'll do it. And I started with my box of Cuba, and I hit the yellow pages. That was way before we had iPhones and all that stuff, and we had to do the road trip on the iPhone on the the yellow pages. And my very first stop was Tinderbox #1, Santa Monica. Nice. And they weren't ready for acid back then, because the second I lifted up that lid, the smell of acid took over the whole store, and they quickly shut that box down. And the guy's like, literally goes, well, what is this? And I'm like, well, this is the best cigar in the world. This is Cuba, the acid Cuba. Don't you know? It's like, no, this isn't a cigar. Cigars don't smell like this. And since I didn't know anything else, I really didn't know anything, because my first box of cigars was a box of Cuba. I made the mistake of saying, well, aren't all cigars smell like this? And the guy literally goes, son, you must be new in this industry. Why don't you go home and do a little studying, and then we'll have this meeting in a week. So I had a nice little job, and then I figured out that I took a wrong turn, because I was in this industry which I was unaware of. And little by little, I found out that acid Cuba was very non-traditional in a very traditional world, and that's how I started, pretty much. So I started killing people with kindness in California, started doing events all over the place, and next thing you know, CI calls Drew Estate and goes, hey, whatever you guys are doing in California, keep doing it, because our sales are through the roof in California. Nice. Because tobacco taxes at that time was 79%, so people were starting to buy their cigars online. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't seeing any of the money, because their CI was a Pennsylvania account, and all the California accounts weren't really buying that much. But couple years doing events everywhere, and I got a name for doing events all over the place, and Drew Estate hired me to do events for them all over the world, all over the U.S. and then all over the world, and that's how I became the master of, I guess, non-traditional cigars.
Ooh, hey Fabien, let's fast forward real quick and tell the quick story about how after that first box of Cuba disappeared and you had no more samples. Let's tell the quick story about when you had to let them know you needed more samples and what their response was to you. I don't think a lot of people realize this. This is actually kind of funny. You know what I'm talking about? I had
no samples, so no.
Yeah. There we go. Me and Fabien go way back. So, Fabien, remember when he passed the torch to you? Your friend's
don't you know, Bill was one of the best Drew Estate salesperson when he worked for Ashton.
That's a whole nother side of the story. Which,
I don't know if that's the story that he's going for, man.
No. That's farther down the road. That's farther down the road in the relationship. But what I'm referring to, since Fabien is a little younger than me and can't recall, when he got passed the torch from his buddy, right? Mm-hmm. and he had that one box. He had to call for more samples, and he said, "Hey, I need some samples." And they were like, "Who the F are you?" And Fabien was like, "I'm your California rep."
Yeah, so,
and they were like, "We don't have a California rep."
I,
He's like, "I've been doing it for 6 weeks." They're like, "We don't know who you are. We'll call you back." Swear to God, did that not happen?
Yes, that happened. And I got off the phone and I'm like, well, I've been working for free for 6 weeks. So what's going on? The next 5 minutes later, I get a phone call from their national salesperson, Rick Ardito, a good friend of mine still, and a mentor of mine. He was one of a kind, definitely.
Yeah, he's a Marine.
And he called me. He's like, "So you're our new rep, huh? Cancel everything you have planned for the next week. I'm flying in tomorrow, and we'll see what you can do."
So you got the job, and then you got the test.
Then he got the job.
I got the job, and I got the test. And here's the worst thing is, so I'm selling Cuba Cubas, and Cuba Cuba is the number one selling SKU in the acid line. But there's like 14 different SKUs, and only 5 of them were selling. And at that time, they're a very small company, so they didn't really know production yet. So they had a lot of liquid and a lot of Maduros. So I get a phone call saying, "Stop selling Cuba Cubas and start selling liquids." I'm like, "Well, how am I supposed to sell liquid if I don't have any samples?" They're like, "Well, prove yourself first before we send you some samples." I'm like,
"No."
I'm like, "Really? I'm just gonna go sell some cigar cutters because I know they got plenty of cutters over there." So yeah, I mean, it was crazy. So then I realized they had just launched the natural line, and they had plenty of that. So then I'm like, well, screw selling acid. I'm going to sell something that they have in stock. So then I started selling natural like there was no other. And California became the number one area for natural. And, you fast forward that through, I don't know, 10 years. Actually,
Darty.
No, you fast forward that probably 8 years. And then that's how I created Sweet Jane.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that?
I did.
Did you hear that?
I did.
Now, that can lead into the other story that Stash wants to know about, and that's a very quick story.
Okay.
So, Stash, when Sweet Jane was established, and Fabien was around the kitchen counter with Vaughn Boyd back in the day, and Sweet Jane came about, I'm going to let him tell the story, but the reason being that I was there to sell is because I was representing Ashton at all. About 2-3 major events, 2 events with Fabien. And Sweet Jane was new. And my relationship with Vaughn Boyd, at that time, you actually, hey, this is her product, this is what it is. Big bite culture loved it, and that's what grasped it. And that was what Fabien was referring to when I was at Ashton. You couldn't help but showcase her cigar once it started growing with a bunch of positive influence.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. Right on. And then you were born like in Switzerland, correct?
I was born in Switzerland, and I legally immigrated to Connecticut when I was 9 with my whole family, as my dad climbed the corporate ladder. And then we moved to Connecticut. We lived there for 4 years, and as he kept climbing up the corporate ladder, and we got our green cards, and then we became American citizens legally. We moved to California and lived in California for 23 years. And I escaped California. It's been 11 years, and now I live in Miami. So
nice.
But by the way, something that you need to know about Fabien real quick before we go into his brand of cigars is growing up, he had the opportunity to have something
here's
wanted.
The thing. Drew Estate for my friend Ludo. Huh?
Go ahead. Watch.
I was going to say. Oh yes, my dad was working for a company.
Right. He played with the originals and destroyed them. Could you imagine?
He worked for a company, Mend Plastics Together.
All right, your friend Ludo.
And a crazy Swiss approached the company that my dad worked for, and he's like, "I want to use your company. I want to use some of your machines to mend a plastic together and create a watch." And he's like, a Swiss watch company making watches out of plastic, no, that's never going to work.
It's never going to fucking happen.
Well, so he had a chance of becoming a partner with this. He had a chance with becoming a partner in this little plastic watch company, and my dad's like, "Yeah, no, good luck. We'll sell you the machines. You do your thing." He actually gave us a whole set of the very first selection of swatches, which I don't know what I did with. I probably wore them like crazy, and they fell apart or whatever. But yeah, that's
was that.
It'll never work.
Now, you were going to say something about Ludo, your buddy.
To this day, I still give my dad crap.
Billionaire?
But the territory, I get California, and I don't know. I definitely have a couple more zeros to my bank account right now, probably. But with that said, this isn't a watch talking.
No, it's not.
This is blowing smoke.
But it does tie in because you're Swiss.
Just blowing smoke is talking shit, and that's what we do best, man.
Yeah.
All right. Well. In that case, that was the second mistake my dad ever made. There was another mistake that he made, but you know what?
Save that part.
My dad, great pops. My mom is the best parents. But yeah, I mean, it's funny where you grow up with a mentality of a certain something, and you're not necessarily open to progress, and sometimes progress slaps you in the back of the head like 2 or 3 years later, going, man, I should have learned. I should have known.
That's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say, like, did that affect how you sold when you grew up, knowing that your dad missed out on this big fucking opportunity, and you're like, you know what? I don't care that it's a non-traditional cigar. I don't care whatever. I'm going to sell this shit like I do, like Fabien does.
We must have had some audio difficulty there.
Yeah. Listen, I must have. Yes, I did. Okay. I thought I was talking to C-3PO for a second, but
dude, if only.
It's okay. It's all right.
If only. I only got the TIE Fighter on the neck.
So let's go back. Let's go back to the beginning of Sweet Jane, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So
let's clarify.
I take over Drew Estate, and Drew Estate has 11 accounts. Huh?
Nothing.
Keep rolling, bud.
So when I took over California, Drew Estate had 11 accounts, and one of them was a small little store in a small little wine area, Paso Robles, and it was Boyd's Tobacco, and that's where I met John and Vaughn, and they were the number one account of Drew Estate. Vaughn likes to say she probably was the first account that bought Drew Estate west of the Mississippi. So they were fond. Drew Estate was very fond of them. So, after Rick Ardito came, he's like, take care of them. Don't ever lose them. They're a great account. So I became friends with Vaughn and John, and I considered Vaughn my mom in the cigar industry in a sense, because she taught me a lot of things and whatnot. So in 2000, in late 2005, Vaughn and John are like, what, dude, we're tired of California politics. We're getting the hell out of here. They're big Harley riders, so they're like, well, we went to South Dakota, Sturgis. There's no really good store there, so we're gonna open up a store in Deadwood, South Dakota. I'm like, oh, well, I don't think that's in my territory, but okay, good luck. So they opened their store at Deadwood Tobacco in July 4th weekend, 2006. And Sturgis quickly approaching, and it was like the week after the IPC or the RTDA back then, which is now the IPCPR, which is now the PCA, or I don't know what it is now, alphabet soup. But so they went there and they're like, holy shit, there's gonna be a ton of people and we need help. So can you come out? Well, I spoke to the guys at Drew, and they're like, okay, well, that could be your account. So go over there, and I spent 10 days over there. I stayed at Vaughn's house, and I was in the humidor, and I was selling Drew Estate products, and I was selling all the products that they had, and this and that. We ran out of stuff, and it was like, all right, well, we got to come back next year. So I came back next year, 2007. Whoop, whoop. And I we sold a whole bunch of product, and they bought more Drew Estate product, and I was selling more Drew Estate products, so it was good. And it was until then that one night after, we closed the store and we go back to Vaughn's house. And
this was what, 2008?
I've been known to make some cheesy rice, which Bill may want to talk about or may not.
I just ate that the other night, buddy.
Cheesy rice, and I came up with an idea. I'm like, Vaughn, you get people from all over the states, all over the 2007. And I'm like, you come out, you have people from all over the, huh? What?
He's on a delay, a big delay.
Nothing. There's a delay.
There's a delay. You're
just
good.
keep going, bud.
Yeah, no, 2007.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh yeah. So. No, I don't understand you, R2D2.
Just saying, roll with it, man. You can keep talking.
So, I'll continue. Maybe you can hear me. Yeah. So in 2007, after a long day and we sold a whole bunch of product, I'm like, Vaughn, you need to make a cigar that you can only buy here. That way, you build a website and the people can buy cigars from you because they know customer service is very good. They like you. It's a great place to hang out during Sturges. So let's make a cigar. And she's like, yeah, all right, I'd love that. I'm like, well, I know how Drew Estate works. It would be easier if we use a blend that we already have and we just tweak a size than coming out with a new blend somewhere and this and that, because that could take years. So you want to get it done for next year? Let's get it done for next year, and let's do it. So she literally goes, well, what's your favorite blend? I'm like, well, they don't call me Dirty Fabien for nothing. Is because I was chain smoking those natural dirts. And she goes, well, my favorite size is a Corona size. So I'm like, well, let's make a Corona sized dirt. So that's literally how the Sweet Jane came about. So I got the information. I talked to the guys. I'm like, hey, next year for 2008, I want to make a small batch of cigars for Deadwood, and we want the natural dirt blend in a 5.5 by 44. So they're like, okay, all right. So we ended up making 250 boxes of this cigar, which was nameless because every year Vaughn and John would come up with a new bike logo. So they give us the bike logo, and we put it on the Deadwood, the cigar that we made, and literally we sold those 250 boxes in 3 days. So we're like, holy shit, we got something here. So we're like, okay, so next year, let's see if they like the blend or they like the sweetness. So in 2009, that's when the logo was this chick with riding a bike, and you could see the back of her, and her thong, or the girls call it like a whale tail or whatever. And we had one of them, the non-sweet one, we called Smoking Jane, and the sweet one we called Sweet Jane. And we made 1,000 boxes of the Sweet Janes and 500 boxes of the Smoking Janes. And after that week, we sold out of all 1,000 boxes of Sweet Jane and maybe like 50 boxes of Smoking Jane. And we're like, okay, so they like the sweetness, they like the size. So screw Smoking Jane. Good luck selling it. Here's some extra swag so you can try to sell that stuff. But now we know it's good. So that's how Sweet Jane got her name. But the logo itself didn't come out until 2010 when Joey, who is the graphic designer for Drew Estate, actually put a sugar skull on it. And that's where, everyone knows what Sweet Jane is now, is with a sugar skull and the Sweet Jane name. The very first one of that one was in 2010. And we sold out 2010, and I think we made 1,500 boxes. And it wasn't until 2011 where I'm like, well, let's launch Sweet Jane during another big festival in Deadwood, which she decided it was St. Patrick's Day, because what I didn't know is Wild Bill was taking over all the other big weekends in Deadwood, so the only one that was left was St. Patrick's Day. So I'm like, all right, I'll come out for St. Patrick's Day and we'll launch Sweet Jane, and we'll sell Sweet Jane from March all the way through Sturges, and then whenever you run out, then we'll re-release them again in March for the next St. Patrick's Day. And that's how it started going. Meanwhile, the numbers were going up and up, and I kept telling the guys at Drew in the office, like, hey, we got something. we need to release this nationwide. But it wasn't until like probably 3 or 4 years later that they decided to start selling it nationwide. During that time, Vaughn actually opened up like, I don't know, 10, 15 accounts nationwide, and she was wholesaling Sweet Jane to them. So that's how the story of Sweet Jane started.
Awesome. What you smoking on?
Yeah.
It's not mint. Mint he does at the end of the night.
Normally, I would be smoking. I would be smoking one of my cigars. Come around, friends, enjoy. But as you may know, there's a hurricane coming towards Florida, and it's not going to hit Miami. But we got the outer bands out of range. So my lovely wife, Catherine. We've been together for 8 years, but she doesn't allow me to smoke cigars indoors. So she only allows me to smoke hookah indoors. So I couldn't be on a podcast called Blowing Smoke and just, not blowing smoke. So I'm smoking. I'm blowing a very nice minty, fresh. It's called Winter Fresh. It's a almost like wintergreen hookah right now. So yeah,
very nice.
So Fabien, tell us about this new project you got and where the end result consumer can get it. And
okay, so here's the thing, right? So for my whole career in the cigar industry, I was known as the non-traditional guy. Started with acid, then natural, and then when Tobacco Especial, I was doing Tobacco Especial. I even partnered up with the guys at Rocky Patel, and I did some Java events and all over the place. And I was like the sweet guy. So hey, look, it's Fabien, the sweet guy. Yeah, I'm pretty sweet. But so I'm always non-traditional. So when I left the industry in 2019, I smoking a lot more hookah at home and relaxing at home by my pool and having a good time. Ethan and Bill have come by my pad a few times. We've barbecued and we've ate too many brats and
yes, we
smoked a lot of cigars and hookah.
Threw some darts.
And threw some darts and Bill kind of kicked my ass at darts. But that's
the
all
whole
right.
house.
He
beat the whole
somehow.
house.
Yeah, he cheated. He cheated somehow, but
it's the thumbs.
That's
Toes,
it's
not
it's
thumbs.
those gigantic thumbs that he has. He has so much. It's so precise. It's insane. I mean, his thumbs are bigger than my big toes. Like it's crazy.
It is a toe.
Until he has to text, and that's just a guessing game.
You never want to thumb wrestle against Bill, or you already know. I mean, Bill was like the number 2 ranked thumb wrestler in all the U.S. The first one was Andre the Giant when he lived.
Right?
Oh, fuck.
So anyways, back to the cigar that you created. The new one.
Yeah, so the cigar I created, so during that time, COVID hits. And we are, we're stuck in our house and whatnot. And across the street was my guy that I used to work with, Jared. And we smoked a lot of stuff and there's a lot of hookah and a lot of cigars and just bullshit and played a lot of Risk and Axes and Allies. And we actually did a little podcast where, we secluded ourselves every day during COVID for 15 days and we just blew some smoke and whatnot. So we became friends, and Jared got hired by this company, Mombacho Cigars, to completely redo it and start it like new because it had been around for like 8 years, but badly ran. So Jared took the task on, and a year and a half later, he became the president, and now he's a partner. For Mombacho, and he switched the name to Favili, and I can talk about Favili in a little bit. But one of those times, it was December of last year, right? I had a dream. I woke up and it was 2:37 a.m. and I get out of bed and I'm writing notes on a piece of paper because I'm like, this is like a great idea. I don't want to forget about it. So let me write it down. And I woke up, Catherine wakes up and she's like, well, what are you doing over there? What's going on? What are you doing? At the time I was a huge Pokemon guy. So she's like, are you trying to catch some Pokemons on your phone? Like in the middle of the night? I'm like, no, I'm taking notes because I want to remember this. So the next day I wake up and the notes actually make sense. And it said coffee with cigars in a box. So I literally spend the next 48 hours online trying to research if anyone's ever sold coffee with cigars in a box. And literally I find nothing except for a box of Perdomo cigars, which like probably 5-6 years prior, he sold a box of Perdomos with a thin line of coffee beans on the outside, but it was never close to the cigar. So I'm like, okay, all right. So there's no one that's ever done that, and I'm thinking about doing this. And I literally go, so you know what tobacco does? What tobacco does when it's around things, right? So I have this thought about putting coffee beans around tobacco, and he's like, "Stop, I'm in." I'm like, "But wait, let me tell you about it." It's like, "No, coffee. I love coffee. I'm in. Whatever you're doing, I'm in." So that's when I literally come up with. We literally talk over a hookah about this process, and this is what becomes of it. So we know. Do you guys know what happens to tobacco by
absorption?
I
call it osmosis.
Mm-hmm. Absorption.
Or no?
Yes.
Yep.
Boom.
So yeah. So tobacco literally absorbs what it's around, and I knew that because that's how they infuse cigars. I know that, flavored cigars is when you spray the stuff on the leaves, but infusion, you pretty much dehydrate the tobacco and then rehydrate it with not just water, but whatever you want to infuse it with. So I knew that tobacco would absorb whatever it's in. So let's roll some cigars and let's just put them in coffee beans. So we literally put cigars in coffee beans in a box. The very first try, I did it here, and we did it after 5 days we tried one, after 10 days we tried one, after 20 days we tried one, and we found the sweet spot where there's a certain amount of days where it doesn't matter after that day. You could have it for another 100 days after that. The flavor's not going to change. Mm-hmm. So it was very distinct, and from my understanding, you guys are smoking one of those cigars, or you're about to smoke a cigar, or whatever. And what it is it's a nice mild to medium Nicaraguan cigar, filler binder wrapper from Nicaragua. But what the osmosis of the coffee smell, but I get a very rich dark cocoa taste in that cigar. I don't know if you guys do.
Yeah, second half especially.
Yep.
And tell us about the beans.
Because we never do anything. It's all from the beans. But here's the exciting part, right? So we know we got this. The exciting part is we had no idea what the tobacco would do to the coffee bean. So at the same time, we're taking some of those coffee beans and we're grinding them, and then we're drinking them. And both Jared and I are just like, whoa, like I can actually taste stuff. You know, like the descriptions of cigars, the cigar aficionado, like, oh, it's like fruity with a taste of leather and a nice hint of iron and all that. I can never taste that stuff, right?
Right.
But literally, when I'm drinking coffee, I could really taste the fruitiness out of the beans. I'm like, whoa, what is this? So I really liked it. So then we grinded up a whole bunch of coffee beans that never interacted with tobacco, and then we grounded up a whole bunch of coffee beans that interacted with tobacco, and we gathered up like 8 people from around the block. Now I live in a very big Cuban area, so they're all about coffee here. My wife Catherine drinks like 4 cups of coffee every morning, so they're big coffee people. So we did the test. The regular coffee or the coffee that has been osmosized with tobacco, and all 8 of those people are like, this coffee is phenomenal. So in our grand scheme of things, the coffee aspect is going to be where we're going to head. But since Jared and I know our backgrounds are from tobacco, we're going into the tobacco first. If that makes sense.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Does there end up being any nicotine content in the coffee? Do you know? Just out of pure curiosity.
Now, hopefully, what?
Is there any nicotine content in the coffee?
It's straight Nicaragua. That we haven't tested. I don't know how to test that.
Oh,
I don't per se think there is.
Right.
But I mean, it really is that the coffee absorbs. Now, I've heard of, I've traveled with some cigar reps. I've traveled with some cigar reps who actually put coffee beans under their seat because the coffee actually absorbs the smell.
Yep.
So I knew, so in a sense, coffee beans would absorb something, but I never knew that the reaction to so here's the thing. So we came up with 600 cans, which we released in August, and we want to like seed the market through direct to consumer at first. So you can actually go to favili.com and buy your can of Come Around Friends Enjoy. Now people are like, well, that's a jacked up name. Like
Cafe.
What I first wanted to use was cafe, but I couldn't use cafe. So I'm using it as an acronym where there's always going to be a CAFE, and in our series, all the cans are going to start seeing all the letters, and you keep the tubes, and then they're going to end up spelling cafe, and each release is going to have a different saying. So our first release is Come Around Friends Enjoy, because what are you supposed to do with cigars? You're supposed to have your friends and you're supposed to enjoy them. So that's kind of like a call to act. So that's how we came up with it. And we have like less than 100 cans or 100 tubes. Jared likes to call them tubes. So we have less than 100 tubes for sale. And that was our summer release. And very soon we're going to be releasing our winter solstice, because as we're learning more about coffee, it's all about the solstice. It's around the two solstices. So we're like, well, let's release our product around the solstices. So the next one, the winter solstice, it's going to be called Can Anyone Feel Energy? Because it's going to be a bigger cigar, and it's going to be a stronger cigar, and it's going to be a stronger coffee. So
brilliant concept.
Nice.
Yeah, I really like that whole thing.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Bada bing, bada boom, and that is blowing some
that's
real
my story, and I'm
smoke.
That is
sticking to
blowing
it.
some real smoke.
And unlike some other companies that make up crazy stories and this and that, whatever, this story, you could put me under like one of those truth computer this and that, whatever. I'll tell you the same story over and over because that story actually happened.
Very nice. And what was your partner's name again? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Jared.
Jared. He likes to be called by his middle name now, Jared Makalili, because it makes him sound more Italian than he actually is.
So he wants to sound Machiavellian.
So Jared, and my cigars are made in Favili, and we actually buy the coffee from Nicaragua, a small little farmer.
We have no idea. That's a beautiful delay. This is a wonderful tennis game.
Yeah. Can you not hear anymore?
I don't know if you guys are talking.
Yeah, we are.
I hope so.
We are. Are you hearing us?
But this hookah is very good. Very minty.
So it's like a fresh breath.
He must have lost.
Yeah, I must have
Did
lost
we
signal.
lose you, buddy?
Yeah.
Did we lose you? Wave if we didn't.
Oh, now I'm back. Now I can hear you.
Hey, sweet.
Yeah.
All right.
What's up? That was our
Now I want to hear
hyperlink
what
satellites.
you guys. Even though I can't hear what you're saying, but what do you guys think of the cigar? If you're smoking it,
Stash. What do you think, man?
what do you guys think of the cigar?
Good. I mean, it's got a little bit of a, to me, touch of caramel. Definitely the cocoa. Getting some of that. Yeah, it's a good stick. I like it.
The neat thing, I'm watching them smoke it because I already smoked most of them, and I only had 3 left. So the good thing is, when you look at it, there's no funny rolling like Summer Teeth, like a meth addict at it.
No.
It's holding an ash. The ash isn't flaking from what I'm seeing, and it does have a richness, like they said, halfway through.
Well, and it's got a consistent flavor all the way through. I mean, even though it morphs a little bit back when you're going each inch, it's
it's a very well constructed cigar.
Yes, very
Absolutely.
much so.
Yeah.
And
Good.
I got. Yeah. So it's kind of like it's a traditional cigar with a non-traditional aspect to it. And I always thought that if I was gonna jump back into the tobacco industry, it wouldn't necessarily make sense for me to come out with a traditional cigar unless like people are like, oh well, finally Fabien finally grew up and now he's like he could be a true cigar smoker and all that.
It's called the Ziegler.
It still has a little twist, and it's like the Fabien factor. It's like the
The Ziegler twist.
That's right.
Smoke.
Yeah.
Stash, you got any?
So in the grand scheme of things, eventually when we make more and more, my idea is to have it in a few stores, right? And the idea of having it in a few stores is not only have those stores sell the tube, but also open up the opportunity
drink
for those stores to actually sell the coffee, and that's another couple SKUs that those stores would have, and another little revenue, something a little bit different, and also give those stores some enough coffee beans so they could actually grind and give their customers a cup of coffee while they're enjoying cigars in their lounge.
So, Fabien, in the future, are you going to be traveling to these stores and doing wicked, non-traditional, traditional events? Are you getting back on the road? Are you going to hype up the industry again and crack the social media ceiling again, or what's up?
So, yes and no. I mean, I used to be on the road 25 days a month, and that was very good for my relationship the first 5 years, but it was also very bad. So when I start traveling, it's probably going to be like a week here and there, a week a month or whatever. It's going to be very pinpoint, but I don't see myself putting this product in more than like 5 to 10 stores nationwide. So the trips aren't going to be that much. And yeah, it's going to be an event. It's going to be an event, but every manufacturer is doing events now, and they're doing they're doing events left and right, like all the time. What I want is to do an experiential event and have the people who come in experience the whole thing and actually nosedive into the whole experience.
A dinner.
And that way they become more knowledgeable, and they become the most knowledgeable guy in their group. So then they can go back home with their tube and go, hey, this is what I learned. This is what's going on and whatnot. So yeah, so I'll do a little traveling. But it's not going to be as much as it was before.
Do you have plans once it happens to those particular stores to invite them down to Nicaragua and see the coffee processing facility, or even the Mombacho facility?
Yeah, no, we have plans. I mean, Mombacho now it's called Favili. So Favili is the only manufacturer of cigars in Granada. Granada is a very cool little town. It's the oldest colonial town in all of Central America, so it's got a rich history. And Bill knows, but we have kind of like the idea of doing like some sort of cigar safari down there, not only for Favili but for the coffee aspects too. And one of the cool things is Jared is actually building a bar. The Favili factory is 3 stories, and on the top, he's actually building a bar, and he's partnering up with Florida Caña. So in a sense, not only will it be coffee and cigars, but also rum and whatnot. So you're going to get the whole immersed with the whole Nicaraguan culture down there. So yeah, nice. Eventually we're going to end up doing that. That's the plan.
So red beans and rice is included then?
As many as you want, yes.
Oh, I'm down. Make sure you have some good Wisconsin sharp cheddar cheese for the cheesy rice.
Yeah, but here's a cool thing is Jared told me that there's this German butchery down in Granada that makes some killer brats. So there's going to be a lot of brats there too.
So we're going to have the International Broad Eating Championship sponsored by Fabien Ziegler. And he's going to go up against our charity, which is Shorty Rossi. So we'll have the tallest man, the littlest man eating brats.
Perfect.
Dude,
Hopefully he loads up on rice and beans, and I could beat him.
Well, you have to drink as much as wine as...
I was going to say, more likely wine than, the beans and rice.
Yeah.
Look, we went to a Philly cheesesteak place in Miami.
Yeah.
And I was told that, this is a huge sandwich. I was told that at one point, Fabien put down 3 of these things. And I was looking at, I'm like, how is that even humanly possible? This guy, not only Philly cheesesteaks, but this guy can eat bratwurst. I mean, just line them up, man.
Now, those cheesesteaks, real quick, before he tells you, I ordered 2, and I didn't see the caution, the yellow sign at number 1. So I went for it, and I sped through that light. And then right at the halfway mark, of that second one, man, I got the fucking sweats. I went to the bathroom, and I was like, yo, Dirty, you want the rest of that? And then, of all things to bring, frickin' owner brings, hey, you didn't order a slice of pizza, so here, I got one for each of you. And I'm like, nope, I'm good. Then Fabien had, that day he had 2.5. So yes, could he do 3? Sure.
Yeah, and what you didn't know, Bill, is all the cheesesteaks that he makes for me and the people I bring are double meat, double cheese.
Oh, well, there you go.
There you go. Yeah.
So we're watching our figure, man. We're eating like four cheesesteaks worth, but only
So Ethan, yes, you had 2.
2 is
Holy cow, man.
far as bread. So it's meat and cheese.
Yeah, it was good.
The secret of a good Philly,
And the guy,
told,
Bill,
is the dirty water.
guy is a true Philadelphia guy, right?
Yes, he is.
Put him through
He
the
is.
Philadelphia
He is.
check. You're Philadelphia. Yeah.
We were sitting there, right, and he was betting right next to us on the phone, called his bookie, and he's like, put 100 large. And we were like, the motherfucker just dropped $100,000 on a baseball game. Whew. And they lost that night.
Yeah, this dude is a character.
Oh, he closes the shop when he decides to close.
One of those.
Yeah, so if it's like 2:30 and he felt I'm good, he shuts it down. I'm out.
Screw it, I'm out of here.
Come back tomorrow. And he flies in the bread from Philadelphia by the pallet.
Yeah, now we're taping the show on the election. I don't know about you, but I've been voting like 3 or 4 times, like 10 times a day. I mean, it's crazy. And I still can't get any Utah Jazz players on the NBA All-Star team. So I don't know what the hell is going on.
It's a Mormon thing. Fabien doesn't like
Chasing
it.
the Dragon. You guys are blowing up, chasing the Dragon. I see. I'm starting to hear, like, I got 2 messages from other people asking me if I had anything to do with Chasing the Dragon, and I'm like, yes, I did. I smoked one, but yeah, no, it's very cool. Nice. I feel blessed that I was part of the critique group at the very beginning. So thank you, Bill and Ethan,
absolutely
for bringing the whole crew at my house, and that way I could slap them around a couple times, going, yeah, you might have to do a couple tweaks here and there.
Well, maybe this podcast is working better than we thought, because we have mentioned you and the Dragon in the same sentence maybe once or twice on the show. So
yes,
yeah. And he's blowing smoke like a dragon.
He is blowing smoke like a dragon.
Yes.
Yes.
No, but
I am.
You will see the Dragon down around your area. Now that's going to be a hard market for this non-traditional cigar, but we'll see what it does down there in the Miami district of Cuba and its traditional flavors. I asked you what was, of all your times coming to Deadwood and doing events, when you and I were together for some of these events, what was one of the stories of something that happened in the humidor when we were there selling cigars?
All all I gotta say is no one worked the humidor better than Bill and I. I mean, we were selling like from there. They didn't even know what they wanted. They left out they left the humidor with a box of Sweet James, and the one guy who actually knew what he wanted, he wanted Arturo Fuente. He left the humidor with a box of Ashton. The guy who wanted something else, they left with boxes of Sweet Jane or boxes of Acid or boxes of Ashton for a long time until Ashton got kicked out of the humidor for a while.
Nice. But any particular funny situation that ever occurred that you think the audience should hear this story or not? Do you have a particular one you'd like to share?
No. I mean, it was either you and I blocking the pathway down to the non-traditional side. I never had anyone asking me to move over, and it was always funny to see you down there, and then having people try to bully their way over until they realized that you were a Marine, and
I got one.
You could kick him in the chin.
Shin kick alley.
There's a lot of characters during that time. There was a lot of characters. You had the crab trees that were, you had the crab trees that were sitting, on the couch. You had Timmy Time Morris.
Yeah.
Praise. I always think of Timmy Time. Unfortunately, he passed away a few years ago. But Timmy Time Morris was always a great pleasure to be with. One of the nicest guys. He did so much for Cigars for Warriors. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of we built a lot of good friendships, and it was pretty cool. Like I somehow was able to grab Bill from Ashton and took him to Drew Estate. I don't know if that was a great career move for him, but it got him to where he is now, which is
a great career move.
The owner of one of the most in this nation. I mean, everyone. There's a time where I was traveling all over the states, and people always wanted to hear about Deadwood Tobacco, and yeah, I mean, I've never heard a single bad thing about Deadwood Tobacco. So whatever you and your whole crew are doing, and you've taken over whatever Vaughn started, and you guys have taken it to the next century. I mean, it's kind of like taking the store from the dark ages to the 21st century, and you guys are kicking ass, man. I mean, I'm really proud, in a sense, because I kind of feel like I helped put that store on the map a little bit. But what you guys are doing now is phenomenal.
So Fabien, this is my earliest memory of you at Deadwood Tobacco. I remember you hustling the humidor, and you had your little Swiss Alpine walking capris on, right? And then you'd head out and you'd come back with the biggest chocolate shakes that I've ever seen. These had to be like 32 ounces of give me diarrhea sort of shakes. And you dropped one of these shakes off, and I'm like, holy, I'm going to get the shits if I have this, right? And I go, I ordered the big one. And you gave me a little smirk, and you go, I don't walk down the street with anything small.
Yeah.
Hey,
Bill, there's another story I like to tell, and it's the I don't know what the name of that burger is from Mustang Sally, but
Manzilla.
Maybe you could tell us about that story, how that burger defeated you, because my burger had very crisp bacon, and apparently yours didn't.
See, I hate bacon, right? I'm not a big bacon fan. If I have bacon, it needs to be as crisp as a potato chip. With that being said, the Manzilla burger is a bottom bun, a burger cheese, lettuce, tomato, onion, bacon, pickle, top of the bun. It's known as a Manzilla burger. You got to eat it all with one of those luscious shakes. So we go to town, and in actuality, we got an extra burger. So this old dude was sitting there, and he got a burger. So I go with some dude from Drew Estate. He's behind me. He's eating his burger at Stone. And I'm eating my burger. I slide off the bacon. I'll eat that at the end. But the problem with the bacon was it was so damn rubbery. It just kept looking like it got from like a little hill to Mount St. Helens to the biggest mountain in the world. This bacon was so damn gross looking. And every time I took a bite of the burger, I ate all the meat and everything else. And Stone's sitting there going, bacon. The whole damn time, bacon. So by the time I get done with my last bite, there's a mound of bacon and I can't eat it. And some SOB, I come in from the back and somebody's like, "Hey, sir, how was your burger?" He's like, "It was good, but the bacon was super crisp." And I was like, yeah, somebody got my sandwich. And I lost.
Because Bill, we did when I ordered the sandwiches, I did make sure I wanted a burger with extra crispy bacon. So
it was written. It was written
Yeah.
on the styrofoam like 6 times. Extra crispy bacon. It was written on there, and the dude had my damn sandwich. Because then I would have had like bacon potato chips to eat at the end, and that was just like a smoky little flavor. It would have been perfect. But no, I never touched the bacon. It was as rubbery as a rubber band, dripping with fat grease. And it was just, you could see the grease and how like all the oil spots were everywhere. It was nasty. Made me want to be a vegan.
Whatever.
Well, sure.
I think that's a little severe.
Yeah.
Oh, there's many stories
so
of Fabien in the humidor.
If you ever get pissed off at Bill, order a bacon cheeseburger and ask for extra lip bacon.
Right?
It's not gonna happen. I'll just see it and throw it out. Nope. No, but he used to get these cookies delivered, these big ass cookies from the breakfast sandwich, and then they deliver around 1 p.m. And then some of the people that he mentioned earlier would use the cookies to pretend they were one of those little quarter machines outside at Kmart that you put your kid on to ride for 5 seconds. That's what they use the cookies, and they take pictures.
The pump house.
Yeah,
That's right. I used to get.
Pump house is still
Everyone
active.
I used to get breakfast sandwiches or breakfast burritos for everybody in the store, and over the years I became friends with them. And I'm like, hey, when do you close? And they usually close between 2 and 3 because they're only breakfast places. I'm like, well, on the way out, can you bring like 12 cookies or 12 brownies to the store, and I'll prepay for them. And next thing you know, we're working in the humidor, and there's the chick with those brownies and those cookies, and those were pretty damn good cookies.
They're about 6 inches across.
Nice.
Yeah, they were good. They still make them,
Do they?
but they do big cinnamon rolls now.
Yeah.
Or Bill, how about that year where we were selling so many Drew Estate product that we ran out of Drew Estate swag, and I started giving out Ashton shirts with Drew Estate product. And then the one time you sold like this dude like 5 boxes of Ashtons after you told him you would give him a shirt to for that 5th box. And then you come back in the humidor, you're like, "Yo, dude, where are all my shirts?" I'm like, "Oh man, I used all those."
Yeah, the dude didn't want the shirt at first because his daughter's name's Ashton. And then right at the last second, he's like, "By the way, do you got one of them shirts?" I'm like, "Yeah." And then I'm looking for him. I'm going through all the boxes, and I'm like, "Yo, Fabien, where's the Ashton shirts?" And he's like, "Oh, man, I used them. They're gone." And I'm like, "Dude, I got to do buying 5 boxes." He's like, "Give him some acid cigars." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Sorry about your luck, bro." Yeah, that was a nice order, but I didn't have any shirts.
Dude, but during those times, Bill, it was like just make the number, and no matter what kind of shenanigans we had to do, we had to hit those numbers, and more often than not, we hit those numbers, man. I mean, you killed it. I tried to follow, and I'm like, shit, this guy's gonna take my job. He's selling more sweet jeans than I am.
Liar. It was a fun time back then. Hustling. We never left the humidor.
It was.
Good enough.
Well, Mr. Fabien, we are running out of time there, boss. It's a really, really great to be able to talk to you. Sorry that it was choppy at points and some of the things didn't get across, but super awesome to meet you, man. Handsome Pierce, by the way.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Definitely. I look forward to Well, I look forward somewhere in the near future of actually going over there and seeing what you guys are building. You guys are building a whole new thing up the street, and I look forward to seeing that whole thing and hopefully doing one of those shows live with you guys.
That would be
the winter
awesome.
solstice.
Yeah, we wouldn't have the delay. That'd be great.
Yeah. And then you can actually sit here live and we won't have to worry about these fucking technology problems.
Right.
Yes.
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 Yes,
There we go. I got it.
All right. Well, we're going to close out. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to DTC Blowing.
Being technically challenged. And I wouldn't have to go through a podcast with C3PO and R2D2 the whole time.
It's a stormtrooper, bro. Come on. Anyways, thank you for tuning in. Hope you guys.
Yeah, but it could be worse. It could be worse. It could be worse. I could have been on a podcast with Jar Jar Binks. So thanks.
By the way,
thank you.
Fabien is
like
a
C3PO and R2D2.
he's big time into Star Wars, and when we have him back on, he's going to tell us about a particular time he seen somebody smuggle tiny little Star Wars figures into their pocket. So stay tuned for part 2.
Part 2 coming up with Fabien Ziegler. Thank you so much for coming on, man. Enjoy.
We'll see you later. We'll see you on the other side.
Sounds good, man.
Whatever.
All right.